Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we are building the Meta Mickey's deck. Now what's the Meta Mickey's deck? Well, it's a deck centered around the best two Mickeys we have available, namely Mickey Mouse, Detective, looking for some trouble, trying to get a clue, and fetching ink off the top card of our deck whenever we put it into play. One of my favorite cards in Sapphire colors. And we also have access to Mickey Mouse, Wayward Sorcerer, a 3/4 that allows your brooms to keep coming back into your hand so you can play them again at a discount, because Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer is apparently a merchant who makes deals with you. Brooms at a discount. Love those. So we have the two Meta Mickeys right there, and we want to build some kind of solid mid-range list in Sapphire Amethyst colors. So what do we need? Well, we need to be able to survive to Lilo Simba. And we have access to ramp and card draw. Ramp in the form of Mickey Mouse, and I really like Grammatala. Grammatala, when she dies, she becomes ink, and you can quest with her, apply a bit of pressure. Just a solid card. So we're going to be playing a bit of the ramp. And since we're playing Mickey, we're going to have to be playing the brooms, because they go hand in hand together, and it helps us sweep our opponents under the rug and have sweeping victories. But enough about the Bucket Brigade. Bucket Brigade. We have a pair of 2-drops right now, but we need to have a way to deal with the Simba-Lilo combo. And the best card for that in these colors is what Ruby Amethyst does. The Monkey King itself, Rafiki Mysterious Sage, just comes out of nowhere as a 3/3, takes out the Simba, and then whatever you have on the board can sweep away Lilo, or have a very good trade if it's Grammatala challenging a Lilo. That's just the value trade. So Rafiki helps us to deal with these early aggressive start. So now that's what we have. We have mostly an early curve, and we have some ramp. So we're going to be playing the usual removal spells that we have access in the form of Hades, one of the best removal spells in the game, and you keep a 3/6 body with 2 questing ability, just super solid card. Downside is, as with all Amethyst removal, is that you're putting your opponent's card into the ink. Same with Let It Go, but Let It Go can be sung, and so you can cast it for free, and free removal is best removal. So, love Let It Go and Hades. Now, where do you go from here? Well, we want the generally best cards. So, Friends on the Other Side, awesome draw card. Speaking of draw, I do also like having access to the Queen here as one of my 5 drops of excellence. In particular, if you look at this color combination, there's a lot of non-inkable options with like Flotsam and Zeus. And we need to be careful not to get too many of these uninkable options into our deck. As right now we're already playing Hades, Rafiki, and Mickey Mouse. So we already have 3 non-inkable cards. And I find that 3 or 4 is about where you want to be in terms of non-inkable. Any more than that, and you risk your hand bricking and just not being able to keep on inking. And we do want to keep on inking. Otherwise, what's the point in playing the ramp? And now we have 36 cards we need to fill in our curve. I do like the 3-drop Maleficent. That just allows you to draw a card. Goes pretty well with Friends on the Other Side. It will go in the ink most of the time since we're already playing Mickey and Rafiki, but it's a nice option that scales well into the late game. In terms of the 5-drops, I do want inkable 5-drops because there are good top decks in the mid to late game, and they're easy to ink early and they're nice to draw in the late game. So we're going to be playing 4 copies of Jasmine, Queen of Agrabah. Nice healing, nice questing, nice stats. Awesome card. And we're going to be playing some Maleficents. Now, I don't overly like this card, but it's okay. I mean, it quests for 3, has some of the best stats for a 5-drop, 3/6, quest 3. And that's enough for this deck, because We do have the requirement that a card has to be inkable. The other option is to go with Aurora as the 3/5 that gives all our characters ward. Perfectly acceptable option, but I'm going for the extra point of toughness in this particular matchup. I guess flavor of the day, you can call it. We'll also be playing some Robin Hoods. Since we're ramping quickly, we're dumping a lot of cheap cards on the battlefield, and we don't have that much draw. Actually, we do have Friends of the Other Side and Queen, but I want Robin as well. Solid stats, can deal with opponent evasive threats. Quest for 2. It's a fine addition to our deck, and we were running out of good 5 to 6 drops, although we do have quite a bit. We're missing in the 4-drop slot. What can we find there? So in the 4-drop slot, looking at our options, I want to avoid Zeus because it's not inkable. There's this Jafar Keeper of Secrets that's tempting here. It's a 2-quester, 5 willpower, and can have quite a bit of power. Since we're playing Amethyst, we're going to have access to a bit of card draw, and it's an Amethyst card, so we're always playing Amethyst when we're playing the Keeper of Secrets. So this is kind of a moot point, but still, Jafar just goes and wants to go to combat whenever he's challenged or just taking down big opponents, as long as you have the cards to support it. Trying to make your opponent pay for playing a whole new world can work, maybe, maybe not. Now, our deck looks pretty good. We have good amount 2-drops for Fiki, and some ramping in 3, 2 4s, bunch of 5s, a 6 and a 7. I don't really want to add anything else to this deck, but I have to. So Develop Your Brain's perfect for that. It's going to go in the ink as an inkable card, and it's going to draw me what I want, hopefully, whenever I need it in the mid to late game. And now we have a full list, and that is the Sapphire Amethyst Meta Mickeys. Solid cards, decent strategy, where we have good early game plan, we have good late game, good balance, and card draw, ramping. What's not to love? Well, let's see this deck in action with some games. Here we go. Grammatella, Maleficent, Hades, Mickey, Let It Go, Jasmine, and Phil. I do like the Phil Grammatella combo. Rest are mostly inkable. Hades is a little too late game for this, but we'll keep the rest. Rest is decent as we send the Hades back to get a Hades. And we're going to ink our 5-drop Maleficent. Actually, yeah, let's start by inking Jasmine this game. And pass the turn back to our opponent. Goal here is to play Grammatella, combining her ability with Phil to make her a quite potable threat. So the opponent's playing Amber. And what is your second color? We will find out later, as a Stitch enters the fray. And now we'll ink a Maleficent, since we have 2. And we'll land Grammatella, passing the turn back to our opponent. Grammatella is ink that is on the battlefield. And once she goes down, she's going to go into the ink pool. I love that card. Just very solid. Opponent's playing a Minnie Mouse. Since the opponent's not overly aggressive, I think we can afford the tempo and go Mickey here. So let's ink Phil. Play Mickey. Then we'll be able to ink and play a 5-drop next turn. So there's no rush on that Grammatella, so we'll just quest with her. Unless the opponent's putting a ton of pressure on the board, Grammatella into Mickey Mouse is one of the best start that the deck can have. Especially on the play like this. Gives us a pretty large ink advantage. Alright, opponent plays Ariel, which is problematic, The spectacular singer finds a Be Our Guest. As we find a copy of Jafar. Alright, so here I do want to ink relatively aggressively. I'm going to send Jafar away. I think I prefer the Mickey here. Since I'm low on cards, I'm going to land a Maleficent on the battlefield. And simply quest. Do I want to quest with Mickey? Opponent can double challenge it next turn with mini aerial. I'm happy if the opponent does that, because that means aerial becomes exposed. Or Stitch becomes exposed to Grammatala. So even if the opponent takes out Mickey for free, by the challengers available for our opponent, we can turn that into a decent situation. Opponent goes after Grammatala, an odd choice, giving us the ink. And plays Rapunzel. Okay, so opponent's game plan was to draw a card off of Rapunzel. We're sitting pretty with Maleficent Uninvited, a 3/6. Solid stats. Quests for 3. Still haven't seen whether our opponent is playing steel or not. And I suspect they are. I'm still gonna sing Friends on the other side with Mickey. Opponent's 5 cards in hand, we have 5 cards in hand. We can ink a Sorcerer Mickey and land a Robin Hood to draw a card. Now do we want to sing Let It Go? I mean, we could take out Ariel, but which songs am I afraid of? A Whole New World? We're in a decent state. Grab Your Sword, we're still fine. I think I'm just going to quest with Maleficent. Trying to get ahead on the board in terms of lore. Yeah, I can take out Stitch, but I'm not overly afraid. If our opponent goes Big Stitch, our opponent would need to go Big Stitch, ink something, cast a Whole New World, play a 1-drop. That's about what I fear the most, our opponent playing. And if our opponent, even if our opponent does that, we're still in a fine situation. Not great, but fine. We have a lot of Let It Goes and Hadeses that we can find into our deck. Opponent plays a second copy of Ariel. And sacrifices an Ariel into Maleficent, sacrifices a Minnie Mouse into Maleficent, and I'll sacrifice Stitch, I imagine. Okay, 3 for 1. And we got the 3 lore. I'm happy with that trade. An opponent sings Part of Your World to get back Ariel. Seems a bit time wasteful, or tempo wasteful. Now, Rapunzel is a bit more scary as a card. I still don't know what our opponent's second ink color is, but we'll take out Rapunzel, using both Robin and Mickey. Somewhat happy with my hand. I could use a bit more ink. Again, I'm still a bit worried about a Part of Your World, but I'll land a Hades. You can have 1 ink, but let's get that singer off the board. When the opponent can sing stuff, they can put in a lot of ink into play in 1 turn. So Hades will allow me to eliminate that possibility. Now we have 2 solid threats and another smaller level threat on the battlefield. Opponent plays a Hades, sends our Hades into the ink pool. Alright, well, we gotta let you go, my dear Hades, as we're singing you into the ink. So the opponent is on Amber Sapphire. Let It Go being kind of like Hades, just sending stuff back. So that means the opponent doesn't have any area effect type removal, so we can go all out. Drop stuff on the board, drawing some cards. I don't want to ink this. I don't have any singers available. So we'll just drop our hand on the battlefield. We're ahead on ink, we're behind on cards, but we're ahead on board. Let's say we're doing pretty good. Opponent plays another aerial. Now we have the queen, so we get to draw an extra card per turn, if that's how we wish to use her. Oh, and a Moana. Now that's a heavy quester. I'll keep on using Mickey to sing friends on the other side. Just easy, free card draw. Mickey provided some ink, Mickey provided some combat. Now Mickey's providing card draw for free with friends on the other side. This card has done a ton for us. Let's draw one more. Let It Go. I'll keep that for rainy day. Again, opponent has no board wipes, so how can we just play a bunch of stuff? Let's go Mickey. Ink something. I kind of have to play the second queen. And let's set up for next turn. Ooh, I like it, Jasmine. And yeah, we can quest. Then pass the turn back. I really need to do the draw effects before starting to play the barrage of spells. Just gives us more options. Oh, Mr. Detective. Opponent using Moana's ability, questing with Ariel. Questing with Moana, readying Ariel so she can sing. Sing she does. She sings Let It Go. Alright. A Let It Go and a Hades in the same turn. It's a lot of removal. But two can play that game. Gonna draw a card with the queen. Ooh, see? I was about to sing the Let It Go with the queen, but I drew into Hades, which is a better use of my ink. Hades will send your Hades into the ink. And we still have another card to play. Let's just ink with these. And let's play Jasmine. No, let's play Maleficent. Maleficent is a bit more impactful on this board. Then we'll pass the turn back to our opponent. 12 ink is enough. We don't really need to commit more to our ink pool. The opponent sees the writing on the wall and resigns to the power of the Mickeys and associated cards that are fairly powerful in their own right. Let's see what we get. We get Brooms, Mickeys, friends on the other side, small Mickey, and Inkables. That's pretty much as good as it gets, so we're going to keep all of that and send a Maleficent into the ink pool as we get the luxury of being on the play. We'll get to play the Brooms. Alright, opponent inks a smash, so the opponent is playing Steel, plays a Simba, discards a Beast. Alright, so the opponent is playing Steel, Emerald. Interesting combination. Those are most of the combinations in the game, to be honest. Let's ink another. No, actually, let's ink a Mickey. We don't need two Mickeys. Then we're gonna land a Magic Broom. What did the opponent throw in the discard? Beast? Yeah, you can have the Beast back. Sending the Beast back into our opponent's deck as we pass the turn. Simba Future King, allowing players to play a bit more non-inkable cards than they should because of its draw discard ability. Second Simba. Opponent discards a whole new world. So 2 non-inkable cards. Oh, third Simba. Alright. Sending a do it again. That's a lot of non-inkable cards. You better be playing those Simbas. Alright, we're on 3. We're gonna go for Mickey, the detective. Oh, might as well quest with the brooms. Even if our opponent decides to take out the brooms, it's going to be a 2-for-1, which I'm fine with. Really like Mickey Mouse detectives. I like them a little less when I draw 3 of them. But then again, they're made to sing Friends on the Other Side. Brooms and brooms. That's a lot of brooming. Let's send one to the ink pool. Then we can go Mickey second broom. And we will shuffle your discard pile. You can have it do it again. Don't think the card's overly good. And quest with the magic brooms as we pass the turn. It's all Mickeys and brooms so far. Opponent decides to go after our detective using the triad of Simbas. Inks a Tinkerbell. As the turn passes back to us. I kind of want to play the small Mickey to generate more ink. And wipe out some Simbas using Mickey Mouse. Unfortunately, the ink just doesn't line up. I can't go 3+4 without inking an extra card. So let's go with Mickey and Phil. We can wipe out our opponent here. I'm a little bit worried of a Tinkerbell, because I think Mickey's ability only works on cards that are destroyed through combat. Yeah, only banished in a challenge. We're still gonna get rid of the Simbas. Might as well clean up the board, leaving your opponent with very little options. And we'll pass the turn back. Just combat all the way. We sweep the board using the brooms. Opponent inks another Tinkerbell. I think that's the second one in ink. And plays a big bad beast. Alright, well if that's your play, then might as well do a bit of healing. We can play Jasmine, Queen of Agrabah. Heal all our stuff. The extra point of health is unlikely to help in any way, but that's fine. Don't really want to lose that Mickey. And I am afraid that our opponent is going to play Grab Your Sword, which would blow out a lot of our stuff. Mickey can stay. This Mickey can prove to be useful with Phil's ability. Yeah, we're going to keep the Mickey up, just in case our opponent doesn't sing Grab Your Sword. Opponent inks a Tinkerbell. And plays a whole new world. Sings a whole new world. Using Beast. Ooh! 3 whole new worlds. That's too many. Opponent has a mid full of cards in hand and 6 ink at their disposal. Tinkerbell comes in. Dealing tons of damage to our board. 6 points of damage by playing a sturdy 6 drop. That's what I'm talking about. Now we do have to let it go, so we can just send most of our opponent's field away, although we shouldn't be making use of the brooms. So the brooms will go and fight the beast, because I can recover the brooms thanks to Mickey's ability. And our opponent only has one whole new world remaining in their deck. Then Jasmine will sing Let It Go, sending Tinkerbell into our opponent's ink pool, and then we get an empty board to quest. I have a lot of cards now, so I guess I can afford inking a Develop Your Brain. I'll play a queen and a pair of brooms. Yeah, sure. You can have it do it again. And you can have Simba. Just giving our opponent a bit less options for good draws. As the opponent inks a beast's mirror, plays another beast, which takes down our Wayward Sorcerer, unfortunately. Beast Wolfsbane, a 4/4 rush that exerts all of our damaged characters. So our opponent's playing like in the rulebook, Tinkerbell, Wolfsbane, and our opponent resigns as we easily take over the game with rooms, Mickeys, and other good stuff. Let's see what we get this game. Hades, Jafar, Let It Go, Grammatala, and a pair of Jasmines. Great poker hand with 2 pairs, but not so great Lorcana. Grammatala, Let It Go, Jafar I want to keep, and I'll mulligan the rest. I find Mickey and some associates with rooms, with a Jasmine on the far right as an inkable card. That's decent. Decent indeed. Alright, our opponent is inking a Grammatala, as we will ink probably 1 copy of Let It Go. We will let go of that copy and pass the turn right back to our opponent. Nothing's been played, we just both know that we're inking blue cards. Opponent is playing 1 jump ahead instead of playing the Grammatala. An interesting choice, as we find a copy of Mickey. Mickey's interesting, although I think I prefer Grammatala on turn 2. So I'll just ink my second Jafar. Play the Grandma and pass the turn to our opponent. Grandma applying a little bit of inking pressure to the battlefield, and letting our opponent, well, not deal with it, because it's typically bad to go and challenge a Grammatala. You're giving the opponent the ink at the start of their next turn. Opponent plays a Tinkerbell, so it's Sapphire and Steel. Find a Maleficent. Grammatala will just quest. Maleficent's nice. Like, want more Jasmine or Maleficent? I think I prefer Maleficent here. So I'm gonna ink the Jasmine and go for a ramping Mickey. Passing the turn back. Mickey Mouse Detective. Making sure our ink pool is always at the ready, always filled to the brim. Opponent responds in a similar way. Mickey Mouse Detective, singing 1 jump ahead with Tinkerbell. So the opponent is ramping quite heavily, probably setting up a whole new world in the very near future. which means that we need to keep on inking aggressively and playing cards aggressively. So here I'll get rid of the Jasmine again. And I want to ink as much as I can, so I'm gonna... and play as many cards as I can. So I'm gonna play Mickey Mouse, making sure that I keep up on ink with our opponent. I'm gonna play Magic Brooms. You can have one jump ahead. Not so great at this stage in the game. Then we will simply quest with both our characters, passing the turn back. It's always a question of keeping track of a whole new world while playing against Steel, and potential board wipes. The opponent can't sing anything of importance right now. Opponent inks a smash and plays Tinkerbell. Well, that's okay actually. It puts our Grand Metal into ink. Oh, the opponent... yeah, the opponent can do that. So the opponent shifted Tinkerbell, which means that Big Tink can sing if she so wishes. She does not. She decides to go challenge. But the challenge is going to hurt because she gets to ping down our Magic Brooms. She also forces my Mickey into non-questing territory here. Now I can let it go, targeting the Tinkerbell. But that gives 2 cards to our opponent's ink pool, and I'd much rather sing it. I'm afraid of a Whole New World, sung by Tinkerbell, and then the opponent getting tempo off of it is pretty backbreaking. But if I ink a card, then I risk running out of gas. I think I'm going to go for the Maleficent and pass the turn. Risk that our opponent doesn't have a Whole New World in their hand. They did have a good opportunity to sing it last turn, but they decided to go for combat. So maybe they just don't have it. That hurts. Hades, sending our Maleficent into the ink pool. Not a great place to be. Now this is an interesting spot. So I can double Mickey here, but I really want to sing that Let It Go. Opponent would have sung Whole New World if they had it, I think. So I'm going to go with the Maleficent again, with the hopes of going next turn Let It Go double Mickey. Maleficent just being a glorified big beater now. 3/6 for 5, quest for 3. It's a very aggressive quester. Come on, same world, no Whole New World. I like the current one. Actually, I don't like it that much. I am facing down Tinkerbell and the Hades, and the opponent had it. So it's a Whole New World. Shuffling up, well, actually discarding whatever we had left, and drawing a brand new set of cards. With our opponent having 8 ink available and a new mid full of cards. This is pretty much spelling doom at this point. What did we draw? We have a Hades, which is pretty nice. Opponent just keeps on adding to their board. Fire the cannon to Maleficent. It really looks like the opponent is going to fire off another Whole New World here, off of Hades. Nope, just questing. Alright, what do we do here? Well, our options are limited. We're facing down Tinkerbell. We can Hades to take out Belle, because Belle will quest for 1.5 tons next turn. We're hard pressed to sing because Tinkerbell is gonna wreak havoc on our board. And we're at 8 ink, which isn't enough to go Rafiki Hades. Can I give Bell one turn? That's the question. I think the answer is no. So I'm going to Hades away to Bell. I'm going to ink the card draw Maleficent and drop a Grammatala, because that's the only 2-costed spell I have. And I'm going to quest Maleficent, I think. Yeah, Tinkerbell doesn't have overly good targets by challenging Maleficent, and she'll take 3 in the exchange, go down to 1. Still, Tinkerbell procs, Arcane. 2 damage goes to Hades. Opponent inks a hook. Actually, we have mirrored boards, except our opponent has a Tinkerbell, and the opponent plays a whole new world yet again. Just messing up whatever plan we're thinking up. Opponent doesn't have any singers left for this turn. And we have the very nice Grammatala into Tinkerbell. If the opponent has a Grab Your Sword, we could be into a bit of trouble. Second Bell coming in. She will suffer the same fate as the other one. Except we need to take out Aurora first. Aurora. Spoiler of plans. Giving Ward to Bell is going to make my life very difficult. Alright. So, Grammatala will fight Tinkerbell. This is almost certain, so let's start with that. Because Grammatala gives us more ink for next turn. Now Hades, can we take it down? We can fight it with our own Hades. Opponent can ink for 12. I kind of need to play Hades here. Then I have access to a Rafiki. Rafiki is not overly helpful here. I can ink this. Yeah, 12. You can take out the Aurora with Hades, which I feel is almost forced at this point. Because it's the only thing we can target. And Hades is pretty powerful to just try and prevent our opponents from questing too much. Let's see, we go Phil here. And quest with Hades. Trying to bait our opponent into a little bit of aggression in terms of challenges, while inching towards the goal of winning. Now the question is, do we quest at Mickey? No. We'll keep Mickey, because we can use Phil to pump the Mickey into 4 combat. Maybe even trading with Bell. I would have preferred to be ink efficient, but if I keep the Rafiki as a surprise for next turn, that's not gonna matter because our opponent decides to play a whole new world yet again. So when you're low on cards, just draw a new midfold. Thankfully our opponent had to hardcast this one, so our opponent's down to 8 ink. 10, can't read numbers. Tinkerbell, Pinger of Doom, takes out Phil as well as Mickey. Oh no, Mickey's alive. Takes out Phil. Sorry Phil, your limelight was short-lived. So the opponent plays another Bell and will most likely quest with everything, putting us into a bit of a terrible spot because we don't have any board wipes. Just downside of our Mickey's deck. So the opponent can ink for 17 and they need 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's very little we can do here. We can play Hades, get rid of the Unexerted Bell. We can sing Let It Go by exerting this Hades to get rid of Tinkerbell, I guess. And we can, and we have to take out Bell. Our opponent can still quest for 5. We need a double Rafiki and something that gives us 2 ink instantaneously that we can use, which we don't have access to. And so we'll lose the game to just a few too many whole new worlds. The Mickeys couldn't keep up with the Steel, Sapphire, Control Infinite cards. I hope that you've enjoyed this video featuring the Meta Mickeys. It's a well-balanced deck for the well-balanced player with some good early game plays, good ramping, decent removal, and just a very solid game plan overall that can be adapted to a variety of strategy. Yet without any particularly good or particularly bad matchup, it's really just a fun deck to play featuring Mr. Mouse, Mr. Mickey, and everyone loves Mickey Mouse, at least everyone who wants to play Lorcana or has been playing. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you did, do subscribe. It really helps the channel to grow and it supports the content. On that note, I'll wish you a great day, some great Lorcana games, and I'll see you next time.